Okay, everyone, welcome back. Today we will be going over part two of this documentary. I did part one last week, and now I have the strength to sit through another portion of this thing and give a little commentary over it. So let's take a look.
Alessandra Jackson is 23. She's the mother of two, expecting a third, and is not married. She too lives in Newark. Like nearly half of all black children in America, Alice's children are being raised in poverty. They live a subsidized life in subsidized housing. But that's not what Alice wanted or intended. Alice lives in one of the toughest neighborhoods in Newark, in the project where she was born and brought up. But she hoped that one day she would move out of here. She graduated from high school, went to business college for a year, and worked steadily until she became pregnant with her first child.
I was doing so good before I was pregnant. I had a little job. I kept money, stuff. But after I had the child, that's when money started going low.
What was your reaction when you found out you were pregnant the first time? Did you intend to get pregnant?
It wasn't planned. But when I got pregnant, I wanted to be a mother. It was exciting to me. I just thought if I had something of my own, a little child is going to call me mommy.
You hear that? She said she wanted something of her own, something to call her own. Ownership.
After you have it, it's hard. You gotta bomb this, you gotta bomb that.
Malik is Alice's firstborn. He is now 3 years old. Soon after he was born, Alice, then 20, quit her job to take care of him. 16 months later, her second child, Antoine, was born. When we met, she was 6 months pregnant with her third child.
So the only reason she was able to quit her job and support her children full time was because of welfare. So that was her safety net.
Ain't no mom.
Timothy McSeed is 26, the father of Alice's 3 children. Though they're not married, they see each other regularly.
They see each other regularly.
When I first met him, I didn't like him. But when he started talking to me, it seemed like he was like a man that wanted to have a home, have children, take care of them.
Did you talk with Timothy about how you were going to support the baby when you were pregnant?
No, that's what we didn't do. No, we didn't even.
So he couldn't give her the home and the security she was seeking after she had the first one. And she's pregnant with the third one, but it didn't register that he couldn't give that to her after she had the first one.
Talk about how I was going to support the child.
Timothy McSeed held his last steady job 2.5 years ago. He's been arrested several times on robbery and drug charges. He was brought up in Newark by his mother, who was 16 when Timothy was born. His father has another family in another city. Timothy has a talent for drawing, which he has never developed.
So he had a talent for drawing or art, whatever you want to call it, but the reporter says he didn't have time to nurture that or cultivate it. But really, that's the job of a parent to see that in their children and nurture that when they're in their the formative years. So this young man was failed because his mother had him at 16 and he didn't have a father, so he was doomed from the start. And he continued that cycle, which is why he has so many children. He's not married.
He dropped out of high school at 16 and spent 2 years in the Job Corps. He was 23 when he and Alice had their first child. Timothy does not support any of his children.
Yeah, he doesn't need to. The government supports his children.
How many children do you have? 6. He fathered those 6 children by 4 women. He also had 2 more children by 2 other women, but one died in infancy and the other was aborted. We asked him about the birth of his first surviving child.
It was kind of a funny experience because, like, me and the girl was just messing around, right? And she was going with somebody else. She used to be an old girlfriend of mine. She managed to get popped up by me.
Okay, that's the second baby. The third was
Mustafa.
Damn, he had to think. He got so many kids, he don't know who's who.
Mustafa. He was the third.
That was by another lady?
Mrs. Ward. Yes, I go see him every now and then.
How old is he now?
He's 5, if I'm not mistaken. 5 or 4, even more.
And then the fourth one was
Shimon. I only saw her twice. 2 times.
what happened to her?
It was a family problem. You know, the father don't want me to see the mother and all that. You know, so I got tired of running behind her and found me someone else. I didn't have to sweat it because I guess the father was taking care of them anyway. So,
How does it feel to have those
women,
no kids?
kids, well, you get to see. If it ain't one thing you've done, you like artwork, for instance. You look at your art, you say, "This is something that I've done." Just like the carpentry, it's something that you've done. You can see what you've done. If anything, if you don't do nothing, you can see something. You know what your life was. You know it was to you.
So see, he wasn't able to live out his purpose, his God-given talent through art or drawing. So he replaced that with baby making. I'm gonna do a video about that too, because this is the main reason why we have so many people having sex and the children are being born, because we have purposeless people out here. And this is how they obtain a purpose, is just making babies. And they view those babies as objects, not as their own person.
So the kids are sort of artwork?
Well, not really, but you can, like they might grow up to be doctors or actors, you know, and you can say, look, that's my boy, or that's my.
Now, how is a child supposed to grow up and become a doctor or a lawyer when they don't have parents to guide them and lead them towards that? This is why they put so much responsibility on the school system. People with this mindset think they believe it's the school's responsibility to usher their children into greatness.
My girl, you know. But there's some people that can't have children at all.
Their mothers raise Timothy's children, and welfare pays for them. On the first day of each month at noon, the mothers gather outside the project's mailroom, waiting for the postman to deliver their check.
Oh, we call it Mother's Day.
Why?
Because us mothers be getting our check that day, getting their welfare checks, so we call it Mother's Day.
Alice's welfare check comes to $385 a month. She cashes it at the corner store.
Back in town now.
She gets another $112 in food stamps.
I don't think I would have had the second 2 children if I didn't think welfare was there. I don't like welfare.
Catch that? She wouldn't have those kids if welfare wasn't there.
Because it makes me lazy.
It does?
Yeah, it makes you lazy just to sit around and wait for a monthly check to come in. You know, I just like to work. I like money to come in every week, every 2 weeks.
Why doesn't Timothy help you take care of those kids?
One thing I do know about Timothy, that if he did have a job,
See you another blue moon.
I know he would take care of me and the children and the bills. But what's holding him back? Well, this is what he tells me all the time. He figured I'm going to be with another guy, or I'm going to slip away from him while he at work. That don't make no sense to me.
Don't you
Lord have mercy.
get mad sometimes?
I get mad a lot of times about financially support from Timothy.
What do you say to him?
I always say it ain't that hard to get a job. Go out there and look for a job, because I'm sick and tired of just laying back waiting for a welfare check. I said that this is not how I want to live the rest of my life. This is not the way I plan for my future to be.
Does it make you feel bad that you can't support your kids?
Yes.
How do they make it? Where do they get the money?
Well, majority of them, the mothers on welfare, and welfare gives them a stipend for the month. So what I'm not doing, the government does.
What would happen if the government didn't?
This would be a big disaster, I guess, because you can't give something that you don't have. In order to give, you got to have for yourself.
You see, people out there watching will say, why didn't he think about that before he brought 6 kids into the world?
Well, mother had a choice. She could have had an abortion, or she could have kept the child. She decided whether she wanted to have the child, so therefore, I guess it's not sweating her. I mean, it's not wrong.
You think it's her fault if she gets pregnant?
Well,
And you fought her.
Well, maybe, maybe not. I just say mama, baby, papa, maybe. You know what I mean?
A week before their last baby is born, Alice came for what is only her 4th visit to the doctor during her pregnancy.
Yeah, I was very much worried, and I was kind of unhappy being pregnant. You know, to know that I'm going to have a 3rd child and I'm not doing so good with my 2 I have already.
Is that some? Come with me, please.
But as, you know, the months went by, I just had to deal with it, being pregnant and knowing that it's my child. I'm going to have a child, and I'm just going to have to support it the same way I supported them.
Notice she keeps saying, my child, my child.
Or do better if I can do better.
Is that the last one?
Well, I ain't gonna say that because I said that when I had my first one, then I had a second one. When I said that was my second one, and I had a 3rd one. So I ain't gonna say that.
Did you think about birth control?
No, I didn't even think about birth control. I was afraid of birth control because I always heard that birth control give you cancer and all that stuff.
What about Timothy? Did you talk to him about taking precautions about being?
Yeah, I talked to him about being careful about.
The reason people with this mindset don't think of birth control is because it's proactive. And the reason abortion is the go-to birth control is because it's reactive. When you have a certain mindset, you think of ways to prevent things. You don't think of what to do after the fact. So this is why people in this environment, they're more reactive because they're living in survival mode. So they're not thinking of how to prevent pregnancy. It's just, well, how do I get rid of it? So this is why the abortion is, they choose abortion as the form of birth control because it's reactive. It's not proactive.
Birth control.
But did he?
No, he wasn't with it.
On Father's Day, Alice and Timothy had their 3rd son, Hakeem Lamont Jackson, 7 pounds, 7 ounces.
Yay, little boy. Little boy. I'm the king. I'm the king. Hey. How you feeling now? You feeling all right, sweetheart?
No, still all right. Fat face, little baby. Girl, you hurting me? You hungry? I know you're hungry.
Let me see my little man.
So many women, so many children. Do you ever think that maybe you shouldn't do it? Unless you can be sure you don't have a kid?
Oh, not really, because I'm highly sexed. But I have ways of cooling myself down, because like when you're dealing
Did he say he's highly sexed?
with one female and you're not dealing with another female, having sex with her too much is bad. So you have to set a schedule when you should do it and when you should not.
You seem to break your schedule sometimes.
Well, like most women say, you're a baby maker. I just got strong sperm.
I got strong sperm, you jive reporter.
Would you have had these kids if you thought about them in advance?
No.
Oh, were an accident.
Yeah, you can say that.
Were you just having a good time?
Yeah, a lovely time. I enjoyed myself.
And you didn't think about marrying any of these women except the first one, the first girl?
Yes. Well, I'm gonna marry Alice.
Sandra.
Oh yes, we're gonna get married.
Do you love Sandra?
Yes, a lot. Big deal.
Does she love you?
This girl crazy about me.
Tell me, why did you get married?
Well, see, I'm old-fashioned. I want a big wedding. That's that. And my uncles and my aunts, they all had their little tuxedos, and I'm gonna have mine too.
I thought you were going to say to me, because I can't afford to at the moment.
See, this is what marriage is for. They think marriage is a wedding day. He just said, I want to get married. And then he described the wedding day.
Oh, that ain't it. Because I'm going to find me something. I'm going to get something. See, I'm strong in that spot. I'm
When?
find something. Never. I keep on trying. I don't never give up.
You feel very responsible for your children, and Timothy doesn't. What does that say?
Sometimes I think like that. I said, Dad, here I am. I got 2 children, one on the way. Well, this was before the first one. I'm doing this all by myself. And sometimes, if you sit down and think about that, I know I really get very upset. Because I don't think he really understands that I'm here, taking care of all this by myself. If he get that, if he think like that, I think he'll do something. I don't really think he understand that I'm doing that.
Why do you let him off the hook? Why do you put up with it?
And sometimes I'll be like telling him, leave me alone and so with. But every time I do that, when he's not with me, even that same day or the next day, I feel, lonely without him. Feel like, I just get angry and say them things. I don't really be meaning them.
Do you love him?
Yes, I love him.
Does he love you?
Yes, I think he loves me too.
They call this cattle country. It's also where a lot
Okay. I think something happened here. I may have to do this over. I messed up totally. I apologize for that. Let's see. Private Foster, you say a proactive woman is deemed as a whore, so a reactive mind is a lack of accountability. Well, proactive woman is, when I speak of a proactive woman, I'm speaking of a woman in a relationship who's with her man or her husband. So why would she be deemed a whore? Interesting comment. Okay, I'm going to end this one. I'm going to do part 3 in a couple hours. So I'll see y'all on part 3.